Hello and welcome back to Nana's Kitchen. Today we are making jambalaya. I know I promised you this way back when I did the Filet Gumbo. Remember I said this would be Bayou Supper. It was jambalaya and crawfish pie and Filet Gumbo. Let's just get into our jambalaya. Now y'all know that Nana doesn't usually follow a recipe just perfectly. So stay with me. We're going to do some creative cookery today, but I will put it in the description so that you know what I used. Now it wants a couple of tablespoons of uh, oil of some kind, but it just so happened that I rendered my own lard. So I'm using my own rendered lard, and I'm starting with that. Now, I'm putting it all together in this pot, and I'm just taking you guys along with me. I think that was one onion chopped up. Doesn't have to be super small, just chop it up. About 3 stalks of celery chopped up. Papa's my official chopper of the things, and I sure do appreciate it too. Makes things go so much faster if we're already pre-chopped. All right, now it wants some green bell pepper and some red bell pepper. Y'all know I went shopping in the freezer, as I do. I would say that, I don't know how much bell pepper that is. Put what you want in there. It could be a half of one, a whole one. I'm not even sure. Here we go. Bell pepper. Green bell pepper. Oop, there we go. And red bell pepper. Sandwich bag full. I would imagine the equivalent of one or maybe two. Well, anyways, that's where we're going to start, y'all. We're starting with that, getting these vegetables done. They, they don't have to be like 100% done before we add the additional ingredients, but it really helps tenderize, get them tender and, have them be done. All right, well, that's it for now. It'll take a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right. Papa's going to bring the camera over. I want you to see where we are right here. Now, he wanted me to remind you guys, this is not a fast food, okay? It might be one of those weekend type things that you fix ahead of time, pre-cooked, because this will it will store well in your refrigerator. It will freeze if you have more than you want and you want to just, put it back in the freezer for future meals. But let's do something with this. I told you I went shopping in the freezer. I thought out a quart freezer bag of tomatoes. Um, you know, I again, I will write down things in the description so that you have a better indication of how much of each ingredient you would want to use. But this right here will help that celery go ahead and cook. Sometimes, and I forgot to do it today, but sometimes I use this, I call it a hack, where I go ahead and steam my celery maybe a couple, 2, 3 minutes, in the microwave ahead of time. And that does help it go ahead and, cook more evenly because your peppers and onions are done. Okay, y'all see I'm down to the bottom of my minced garlic jar. And Nana, I'm not much for wasting anything. So I'm going to use part of my chicken broth. There's about a cup and a half in here. Now, this was some, y'all know if you've been with me very long that I don't normally use chicken broth that's already boxed from the store. And I can't even honestly remember what it was I was cooking the other day. And I just didn't have time to render my own chicken broth. So I opened a box of that kind from the store. Now I do have some fresh chicken broth. I guess you'd call it fresh, from the chicken we're going to put in here that I've already pre-baked. Well, anyways, I said, no, I'm also going to use up the rest of that box of chicken broth that's in the refrigerator. Y'all know I don't throw things away. So we're going to do that. Get our garlic all rinsed out. Didn't all come out, of course. We'll see if we can't get the rest of this out of there. Throw this in the trash. And yeah, pick some up next time we're at the store. That's close enough. Stir everything together. Let that simmer some more until at whatever point you think the celery is done enough for you. I mean, it's looking beautiful right now, but Papa is going to want his celery to be just a little more done, not quite so crunchy. We're calling those vegetables done enough for now. We're going to add rice. It's going to make a big pot of jambalaya, you guys. But that's okay. It'll feed a lot of people. And let's see, I already put a cup and a half of broth in there. So let's just see how much more broth I have. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's about 3.5. All right, let's go 3.5. You see that nice dark broth from the chicken that I baked last night? Another cup. All right, there we go. We have about 4.5, 5.5, 6. We have 3 cups of rice to 6 cups of broth, and that's about that 2-to-1 ratio that you want. And I hope you saw that nice dark broth go in from the chicken that we baked last night. Now, Papa and I had a leg quarter each off that chicken. And so today we're going to add the remaining. It was just a couple of chicken breasts that remained, a little bit what you get off of some wings. And y'all, I'm afraid I may outgrow my pot by the time this rice gets done. If I do, it's no worries. It's just the kitchen. Everything doesn't have to go perfectly. But you know what? If we outgrow this pot, we'll move it over to a larger one. So you might want to stick around and see what happens here in a few minutes when this rice gets done. We've added that broth and we've added our rice. And we're going to add a couple tablespoons of Cajun seasoning and just let that sit there and simmer and simmer and simmer. Y'all know, if you've been with Nana for very long, I don't buy a whole lot of just plain seasoning mixes. I mix up my own. And so this Cajun seasoning is some that I've mixed up my own. It looks more like it was about 2.5 tablespoons. We don't care. We want some seasoning in there. So I'll include, the recipe for the seasoning. And just to kick it up a little bit, because Papa doesn't mind some spiciness, and we love Crystal hot sauce if you can find it. Sometimes you can't find it anywhere except kind of down in southern states. I think that's enough for now. You could always add more at the table, but kind of like how we say about salt, you can add more at the table, but you cannot take it out. So let's just stir that around. We're going to let it come up, simmer until that rice gets done. And I don't know, like I said, we might outgrow our pot. If we do, not a big deal. We will move it over into something larger because this right here is going to make a lot of servings. We don't mind. Papa and I really, As I've said before, we don't call it leftovers, we call it pre-cooked. And if we have some pre-cooked jambalaya in the fridge or in the freezer, yay. Because y'all know, sometimes you get busy and you just need something quick to eat. Now, I'm not adding our meat yet. When I do, I'll come back and talk about the meat we're going to add. But I like to, well, my meat is pre-cooked, and I just like to add it near the end so it doesn't just turn into shreds. I'll be right back. Oh, y'all, check it out. Nice and thick. Rice is done. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to add some meat. Of course, a real jambalaya, authentic, is going to call for andouille sausage, and I don't have any on hand. And you know, creative cookery, just how Nana does things. I do, however, have some brats that Papa and I purchased from Air to Ground Meats over there in Ava, Missouri. Papa has already smoked them. Y'all, this is going to be so good. You may decide not to buy andouille sausage ever again. You may just buy yourself some brats and smoke them and add them to your jambalaya. All right, getting that stirred in. Now, I know it doesn't look like much meat, but we're going to add the chicken breast, you know, that we baked last night and had pre-cooked. Y'all know if you don't have time to bake a chicken, you know, just, you know, because some of y'all work. I know, I used to work. Um, just stop and get you a rotisserie chicken and, you know, pick it off the bone. All right, here we go. Chicken going in. This is two chicken breasts. And y'all know, because Nana doesn't really eat much in the way of carbs, I'm not going to be eating jambalaya. I would if it wasn't full of rice. So I'm saving me back about that much chicken. And I know I've said this before. My purpose for waiting until near the end to stir my chicken in is I'm hoping that by doing this, it will kind of stay in, you know, chunks and not just turn into, you know, little shreds. So that's why I'm just sort of gently stirring it around and getting it mixed in. And as hot as this pot of rice is, it won't take but just a minute. By the time I get this stuff stirred in, that chicken and those brats will be heated all the way through. I'm kind of wondering out loud if there's anybody that would know this. Like, could you make this, um, what's that word? Like vegetarian, like, you know, meatless, so to speak? Because, you know, some folks would just prefer not to eat meat. And I'd be happy if, you know, you would offer some suggestions for how this would be delicious and not maybe be adding any kind of meat. Y'all, boy, I know I say it all the time, but I'm like, if you could only smell this, it's making my mouth water. The whole house smells amazing. And I mean, look at that. Rice, vegetables, there's some of our sausage. Here's whoop, there's a bite. Sausage and chunk of chicken breast. Wow. Okay. Papa is uh, chomping at the bit, so to speak. He's been helping stir and chop and do all the things, and he is so ready to take some of this up and taste it. You happy? You are the official taste tester. I guess, like I say before, all the time. Oh man, if you could smell this. But you know what? If you want to smell it,
Make it.
make it. That's right. Make some of this at your house.
All right.
And then you will be able to smell it.
Get a little bite of chicken and some rice on here with a little bite of sausage this time.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that is really good.
Y'all, I sure am glad you joined us today and make you some of this. I'm telling you, it is amazing. And just in case no one has told you today, Nana and Papa love you.